Yeah, word up, check the mic. It's live! They said she'd never move again, ain't no debate. But Victoria fought the fire, rewrote her fate. Left the hospital bed and neck brace behind. A testament of strength for the whole world to find. Now she's found by faith in the wheelchair she sits. A butterfly rising from the abyss. Her story's changing lives tonight. A beacon bright turned all her darkness into powerful light. Don't miss this moment, see the story unfold. Chris Baker Jr. got the legend that can't be sold.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the podcast, Tell Me Your Story. This is your host, Chris Baker, and today's guest to share her story is Victoria. How do you say your last name? Victoria? Brymeister. Okay, there we go. Welcome to this show. How you doing?
I'm doing well as can be.
All right. How is where are you from? You said Oregon?
Oregon to Maui to Arizona.
Okay, all right. I'm out here in Ohio, the heart of America. That's what everybody likes to call it.
Right.
Where I'm actually at, it's probably the best way to describe it. Have you ever heard of Cedar Point?
No.
Cedar Point, the rock and roller coast.
Yeah, no, I have.
The rock and roller coast, man. All right, let's jump into this. Where does life begin for you? Where does it all take place?
Where does it take place?
Where were you born, I should say, actually?
Medford, Oregon.
And now, is that where you were raised? Is that where your childhood took place?
Yeah. It's Southern Oregon. And my dad had a family business selling wallpaper of all things. And so I grew up in the business and started working in the 7th grade.
Huh. Wallpaper, man. Now that sounds interesting. Well,
if you could sell wallpaper, you could sell anything.
That's what I was thinking too. Like, I don't know, for some reason, like the Wolf on Wall Street popped on my head. Sell me this pen, and then it, like, when you said wallpaper, I was like, okay, that's pretty much like this, like how you just said. It's like you got me doing it too. But it's like you said, it's like if you can sell wallpaper, you can sell anything.
Yes, I can. Pretty much.
What was that like though when you first got into that business?
Oh wow. Well, my mom was a beautician for as long as I can remember. So when we lived in California originally, and she met and married my dad, we moved to Oregon. He then adopted us. So that's why I say I'm from Oregon. And here we were, these poor Mexicans, and we pull up to the store and it says Burmeister's wallpaper. And I looked at my sisters and I'm like, if we weren't poor already, we're definitely poor now. And I was happily very wrong because my dad, on a 9th grade education, very, very successful, came over on the boat from Germany. And he had that business for 26 years.
That's amazing.
Yep.
I mean, how often do we hear that story, though, where people didn't finish school but ended up becoming one of the most successful people? I think, who was it, Einstein? He was like, he went to 8th grade. He didn't go through high school. I think that's why I remember hearing something about that. Einstein didn't go through high school, but people claim him to be one of like the smartest dudes ever. Be a genius.
Yeah, my dad was brilliant. He really was. He could help me. He'd stay up till 2:00 in the morning to help me with my math. And it even went up until my junior year of high school. How he figured it out, I have no clue. But I'm glad that he did, because he's my idol, definitely.
So basically, like what you could say is your dad is the man, the myth, the legend himself, really, because
Yeah.
he was able to teach you all that stuff.
Yeah, he came over, here he was born and raised till the ninth grade in Hamburg, Germany. And then when they landed in New York, he had to go to work with his dad to support the family. And he started doing shoe shining. Then he went to, he ended up selling to the United Nations all their chairs at one point. Then he got into painting. He did signs, and then he got into wallpaper.
He's a jack of all trades, man. That's what it sounds like.
Pretty much, and he put it all on me too. So I had to learn. I'm so sorry about my nose.
Oh, you're fine.
He put it on me when they would go on vacation. He and my mom. I took on sign painting also. So I would, I learned it's the very structured way of painting, and it's not kind of what you think. And so I did it for about a year, and then I was like, this just isn't my forte. So I had to break the news to him, and it's not going to work for me, Dad. So
what was he? What did he say after that? Like, was he bummed out? Did he kind of like shrug his shoulders? Like,
no, he just put me into the business more because I started working in the 7th grade. So I'd go to school, come home, change my clothes, go downstairs, and I started, with putting wallpaper books away, putting rolls of wallpaper away that customers would pull out to look at them, but they wouldn't put them back. So then that was my job, and it, I just learned more and more, making paste, tools, different types of wallpaper. American is 30 square feet. Wait a second. European is 23 and American is 30 square feet per single roll. And it just learning how to read blueprints, all that. So I worked my way up in that, and our plan was for me to go to college, because even though I knew the business, my dad didn't want me, I don't know, I guess having to entertain the naysayers of, oh, what does she know? She didn't go to college type stuff.
That makes sense.
So, and here, my dad on the 9th grade education and being very successful, nobody questioned him. But so I was a freshman in college, and I worked part-time. And after that year was over, is when I had the accident, and I never went back.
Well, it kind of sounds like your dad kind of did deal with backlash in the beginning, and that's why he just didn't want you to face the same things. He didn't want you to go through the same boat that he did, because from the sounds of it, sounds like he kind of went through that, where a lot of people were getting on him because he had no education other than 9th grade, and he was thinking about you, of course, his legacy. And that's why he's like, I gotta send her to college, because I don't want her to be in the same boat as me, where people are questioning her, and I don't want her to be in the same arguments, and where she has to kind of stand her ground. It makes sense. But before we get into your accident, my younger audience always likes to know, when you were growing up, was this with technology or before technology?
Oh, way before. The accident happened in 87. I graduated in 86. I was 19. So, computers. You remember going in school? I don't know how old you are. I'm 58. But the computer classes, we had to learn how to program them, you know, and just make a dot go from the top of the screen to the bottom, make it
Yeah.
intersect. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So yeah, I back when Apple just came out, and I think it was Apple, and my brother-in-law was in the computer business, so that's how we got our first computer. But remember the green screen?
Yep.
Yep, that's how it
A
was.
lot of that's crazy. A lot of people don't even know what floppy disks are anymore. Where you
No.
had, that was how you save.
And those
That was
they
the
were
computer games were on there at one time when you had first started getting them to come out.
yep, yep. Back in the Atari days.
But see, I'm a little bit younger than that. So my generation actually had to get the more advanced stuff where we had to learn how to use the keyboard, how to use like during my upbringing we were getting into I don't know how familiar you were with MySpace.
Yep.
That's kind of like not existing anymore. I think it's more of a music site, anything if it still exists. But that's when we were actually learning how to code our own websites, how to make them and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, when I was in school, we had to keep learning everything about the computers because eventually we'd be in this position where, you know, technology would get so advanced that even at like my job, I get people ask me all the time, are you a tech wizard or what? Like, how do you know the computer so well? I was like, dude, my education was with the computer. I had to deal with it. I had to learn it. Like it was class after class after class.
Right.
You had to learn that stuff. You had to learn how to build websites from the ground up and how to, you know, decode them, debug them, all that stuff. Which I'm actually very blessed that I got that education for.
Right. Because this generation has, you know, no clue where it all started in a way. You know, they just see the now AI. And
Oh man.
we know the foundation of it. So
Mhm.
I'm glad that we, you know, got to experience that, and it was interesting times.
And just think about this: we're older than Google.
That is true.
We got kids in the future gonna be roasting us. See, my phone is even trying to answer me to it. It's like, what'd you say about Google? So you were in it, you know, you were in the time period where there was no cell phones. Everybody, all the kids nowadays are using TikTok or they're YouTubing or they're watching all this stuff. What were you doing as a child? How did you live life? Is that what they want to know?
I was working. My dad told me if there was an opportunity to make money, then that's what I had to do. So if my the lady that I babysat for were to call me and say, "Can you babysit whatever night?" and there was like a football game or, you know, a birthday party to go to, my dad was like, "Nope, you're gonna go babysit." So my dad instilled a very good work integrity in me. But, you know, I didn't really start having fun or enjoying life until I moved out of the house and into the dorms. And that 1 year that I had as a freshman in college, I had a blast.
Well, let's jump into it. Let's hear about the college glory days.
I don't know.
Are you ready? Are you ready to unleash that to the world?
Well, you know, every one of my paychecks went into the bank to pay for my college. My parents didn't do that, and I think I qualified for a Pell Grant. So in doing that, I had enough money to pay for the dorm, food, books, everything for the first year. So if I didn't go to class, who suffered? It was me, because I'm the one that was wasting that
Yeah.
time. But I got to stay out past 10 o'clock because
What?
even as a senior in high school, my dad had my curfew at 10 p.m. And on junior and senior prom, I did not come home at 10. I think it was 2, but he
What? Oh, you being bad.
he let that slide. But I could go cruising on Friday and Saturday nights, but if I had chores to do downstairs, my dad was like, have your boyfriend or your friends help you finish it because you're not leaving till it's done. So, when I went to college, I didn't have any of that. And there was a newfound freedom. And not that I didn't enjoy my life before, but I felt liberated. I felt like, I didn't have my parents to answer to. I was responsible for me.
Yeah.
I never called them for help. And I made friends, and, yet did we party? Ish. But I wasn't really into the party scene. I was more into the cruising, drag races, car shows, things like that. Because each of my boyfriends were all into cars too. So it just kind of followed suit. And I enjoyed it. I really felt like I was robbed when I had the accident.
So did it happen like when you were drag racing? Were you drag racing? What?
No, I had a 81 Citation X11. And I don't know if you remember the Citation cars, but they were like your family car. And the X11 version was the sportier one. So, when you buy a car and it has that sticker on the window and everything is checked off that it's been inspected, you trust that, right? So I had my boyfriend back then test drive the car. So it was Richard, me, and the salesperson. And of course, he didn't notice anything wrong. So I went in, signed the paperwork, and he jumped in his car, and I jumped in that car, and we headed to his house. So I noticed almost immediately when I went to downshift into second gear, it didn't want to go in. I'm like pulling it back, and I'm like, what is wrong? Well, he had taught me how to drive a stick because he had a work truck that was a manual. But did I have years of experience with it? No.
Oh.
Did I know how to do it? Yes. So by the time we got to his house, that was probably a half hour away, I told him what was going on. And so he looked at it, but he didn't adjust it. He was like, you just need to get used to driving a stick. So I was like, okay. And the whole week that I had the car, I had that problem off and on. And it was always when I was going into second or downshifting to second. So the day of the accident was a week to the day I drove the car off the lot. And we were out at his parents' house and decided, it's time to go cruising. So I left before he did because we were in Rogue River, Oregon, and we had to go back to Medford. So that was probably maybe a 45-minute drive. So I left about 5 minutes before him. And I was going into a 25-mile-an-hour corner, and I went to downshift to second gear, and it wouldn't take. I tried again, and no luck. I tried third, and it was like stuck in neutral. I ended up hitting the gravel that was on the side of the road. Then I hit a tree, and the whiplash motion broke my neck. And the third vertebrae slid over the fourth, taking the spinal cord with it. The higher you damage your spinal cord, the more damage that's done to the body. Now, it didn't completely sever it, but, it was damaged. And doctors had told my family that I would be nothing more than a head attached to a body, not able to move or feel below the level of injury. Well, C3, C4 is high up in your neck. As you can see, I'm moving my arms. I have feeling and sensation down to my toes. And I felt every contraction when I had my kids, even with the epidural. And it's just how in tune I am with my body. And, doctors don't know everything. And, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. After they fused my neck from C3 to C5, I thought, oh, maybe I'll be okay. Nope. When I woke up in recovery, my body was still numb. You know how when your leg falls asleep, it tingles? Yeah. My entire body from my neck down was like that. And it was, I kind of figured then it wasn't an oops, it didn't work. It was, this is how it's going to be. No one told me. No one came into my room and, pulled up a chair and sat beside me and said, this is what, what you're looking at. And I don't really know why, but I started to feel behind my ankle when they would give me a bath. And I was like, what are you doing? And they were, why? I said, because I can feel you. And they said, well, what are we doing? And I said, well, you're right behind my ankle. And the two nurses looked at each other and they were so excited because obviously that's very far below the level of injury. So they told the doctor, and the doctor's like, let's watch her. So I spent a month in the hospital, and Richard would hold my hand and he would kind of lift it off the bed. And he would tell me, I'm going to let go of your hand. So you have to keep it from dropping. And I looked at him. I was like, wait, what? I can't do that. And he goes, well, you better try. So at first I was like, what a jerk. But he is the main reason why I persevered so much in rehab to get better, to do everything that I could do to make things seem more normal, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want him to feel like the 4 months that we had been together prior to the accident, that I was a completely different person. Granted, he learned how to do my care. The 3 months that I was in rehab, he came up every Friday night and would leave every Sunday night because he had to work. But he learned everything. I didn't want him to, but he's like, well, if we're going to live together, I need to know how to take care of you. So it was a little awkward, but, he had a point. And I was 19 and he was 20. And we went to 2 different high schools. And, it just was one of those things that I truly believe that God brings people into your life for a divine time, whether it's day, a minute, 3 weeks, a month, 2 years, and Richard and I were together for 3 years after the accident. And, he would always tell me, the minute you give up is when I leave. Well, he kind of reneged on that, but I went to work. I mean, for 2 years after I came home from rehab, I went to work with Voc Rehab to get computer literate, build up the speed in my arms to type and the endurance. And I got a job at the judicial department for the state of Oregon. And that was 2 years later. But, I just kept going because the doctors were not going to be right.
No. And it, like, when we really think about that for a minute, is just in case you guys are just jumping on, the doctors were telling her that she was going to be pretty much a pumpkin, that she was just going to be looking at the ceiling for the rest of her days, where she was going to be able to not do anything. But yet, here we are hearing that story where suddenly you started feeling the sensation, you started feeling somebody touching your ankles, behind the ankle, let alone. After the doctor had reported and said she's going to be nothing but just a pumpkin on a stick. But God said, I got other plans.
Yes, he sure did. Now, if anybody would have told me that I'd be doing what I'm doing now, I would have been like, I don't think so. But, it's funny because I went through a process. I took 2 years of Christian ministry in church, and I got a certificate, and I grew a lot during that time, especially in my spiritual giftings. And I thought that God was calling me to be a pastor or a minister. And I'm like, no, I am not going to be on the stage and be responsible for a whole congregation. That's not my comfort zone. So as he grew me more, you can speak to many nations just by sharing your story with one person. When you do a podcast and wherever that's broadcasted, you can, you don't have to be in the building of four walls. And I learned that in a prophetic word that I was, given, that I would speak to many nations. I was trying to figure out how am I going to do that, especially in a wheelchair, because I've been to Europe. I know it's not always wheelchair accessible, but I didn't worry about it because I knew God had a plan. How it led to podcasting was probably because of my friend Diana. And she put my story out there in a group on Facebook, as a matter of fact. And this lady from Australia reached out to me, or to her. And she came to my house and she's like, well, I kind of did something. And I looked at her and I was like, what did you do? And she told me. And I was like, what? She says, because you have a story to tell. And, at 19 years old, we think we know everything, right? I mean, we've got the world in our hands. We've planned out our life for the most part. We've got a plan that we're following. Well, mine literally turned on a dime. And so the 3 months that I was in rehab, I had to change my mindset because I knew if I couldn't sell it to my friends and family, nobody was going to believe what I was saying.
Exactly.
So during that time, even though I felt very isolated, I wasn't, because God was right there with me, learning how to feed myself, right again, working out with a wrist hook that, I could grab the pulleys and different things.
Hmm.
But, I worked on focusing on, even in my situation, there was something to be grateful for. Because I tell, when I speak with people, no matter what your situation is, there's always something to be grateful for. It may not be what you want, but it's what you need, and it's just temporary. And they're also, what are you so grateful for in your situation? Well, one, I could have died. Two, I could be bedridden. Three, I could be on a ventilator. And then I had a stroke 7 years ago, a hemorrhagic stroke. And doctors said that, where I had the brain bleed was at the base of my brainstem. And they didn't give a whole lot of hope of how much of recovery I would have, if any. Well, I told the doctor, and it felt like it took forever to say, because I had the facial droop and the speech impediment.
Hmm.
I said, I understand I've got this spinal cord injury, but this stroke business has got to go. And he said he knew at that point I was going to be okay. So 4 days in the hospital, I went home and worked with PT and OT 3 times a week. And 4 months later, by the grace of God, facial droop was gone, the speech impediment was gone, and I, was back to being the same old Victoria. And I'm so grateful, because so many people that go through a stroke, especially in that area, are not that fortunate. But I know every time God has brought me or anyone through a trial, and what's the saying? If he brings you to it, he'll bring you through it.
Amen.
And
Amen.
so I'm like, every time I go through something, it's like, okay, God, why is this happening now? Like, the spinal cord injury isn't enough already. But excuse me, I think the more that we go through, whether it's personally, business-wise, or relationships, it makes us more relatable to others. And when someone's sharing what they're going through and they're feeling like they're all alone, then you can say, I understand completely how you're feeling. You are not alone, because I've been there.
Exactly.
Sometimes that's all they need to hear, that they're not alone. God hasn't left them. And I know it's totally because of my faith and relationship with God is why I am where I am today. And through the good, bad, and everything in between, it's okay, because nothing's a surprise to him, and he walks before me. So,
Amen, man. I mean, that, like, just saying that fires me up. But on top of that, I'm thinking about, like, I'm listening to your story, and I'm like, how beautiful your spirit is. Because most people that were in your position would have gave up. The doctor rules it out, and they automatically say, okay, they accept it. But you didn't. You did it because God had that hunger in you. He said, no, I'm not done with her yet. I still got work to be done through her. And by your energy, by your fire, by that motivation that you had inside of you to keep going, to keep fighting,
Right.
to not give up. You're showing the world right now that it's
And
still possible.
I tell others in similar situations, we are the survivors, the overcomers that are showing the world how to do this with a smile. Don't sit there and moan and complain and bellyache. That doesn't get you anywhere. Nobody wants to hear that. Okay, the first time, okay. But 5 times down the road, it's like, I don't want to talk to them, or, I don't want to go over to their house because they're so angry or bitter. It's the positivity that attracts people because they scratch their head and they're like, how do they do it? I couldn't do it. I said, you don't know what you could do until you are in that situation.
Yeah.
If
I mean,
somebody-
go ahead. Sorry.
If some-
Sorry.
somebody would have told me that this was going to happen, I would have said, not a chance. Not me. I wouldn't accept something like that. And that's why I just don't do negativity. I can't. I have no room in my life for it.
No, we can't.
That's just how I live my life.
And I mean, like, from your story is like, so when you said you felt that strong urge, that call, that God was calling you into some type of ministry, and you were saying to yourself how most of us do when God gives us that thought, that idea in our mind, that I don't know, God, I don't know, this is for me. I don't think so. And then you're like, no, that's not for me. And God's like, that's cute. You think you have an option. You think you have a choice. Don't worry. I got you.
Or if you ask him, why me? He says, why not?
Why not? Why not you? If not you, then who?
Yeah, so that's why I just stopped asking why. It's like, okay, God, help me learn what I need to learn and let's move on.
But also, you touched on a very important topic that many people kind of miss. Like you said, with the negative positive thinking. And
Mm-hmm.
how often, I mean, I realized this too when I was younger, is would you really want to be around somebody that's negative all the time? That's always putting you down? Or just, in general, just complaining all the time? Like, no, you're not going to want to be around that person. You're going to want to be around a person that's continuously being uplifting, speaking, highly, and saying the right things at the right times.
Right.
Am I wrong? No. No. And that's why your energy right now is like fire me up and get me all going over here. Because it's contagious.
Well, you can either be victorious or
Yeah, okay.
your situation. I was given the name Victoria for a reason, so I chose to be victorious.
I like that.
Really, you only have one or two options. Are you going to be defeated by it, or are you going to do whatever you can to live your life to the fullest? Because it's never too late to do that. It really isn't. I mean, at 57, I started doing the podcast. I co-authored a book. I wrote my memoir that I'm still trying to get published. And, just a few months ago, I co-authored another book. Did I think I was going to be doing that? No, I did not.
And the beautiful part about that is it's only just the beginning of your journey. There's so much in store for you. God's just showing you a little bit. You're getting that little taste of it right now. You're like, you see this? It looks good, don't it? Don't worry, I got more for you. More than we can ever imagine.
And that's the exciting part. So when people ask me, what do you miss? I'm like, I don't miss walking. Walking is overrated. What I miss is muscle tone. What I miss is being able to do things for myself without having to rely on somebody else to help me. But with that being said, as long as I am a messenger for God and I am, interacting with the people that cross my path or I cross theirs, and I'm okay being in the chair. Does it suck sometimes? Of course it does. But I just focus on the positive of it. Caregiver didn't show up. It's like, oh, well, I guess I don't have to worry about being on my bum all day. You know, I giving myself a break. What can I get done from my phone that I would get distracted during the day once I got up? So the mindset change is so powerful, and it's all in how you look at things.
I mean, too, like being positive unlocks a lot into your mind because it opens the door to what I call the unlimited mindset. Because, like you said, you have no limitations. You look at everything from a positive point of view, where you feel like you can accomplish anything. Nothing can hold you back. The only thing that can hold you back is yourself. But being that you have a positive mindset, you know that you can accomplish anything.
Yeah, tell me I can't do something, and I will make it a point to prove you wrong. Find another way of doing it, or do something else that is interesting to me. I know, obviously, I mean, you see my hands. I can't use my fingers, but I've figured out a way, I can still hold my phone, voice dictation with Google. If I'm laying down, it's still voice dictation, but sometimes if I have to be quiet, then I have to use my tongue. It's like you got to use what God gave you, and I had to figure it out. And people who see me, they're like, you can use when I was in the hospital, you can use your tongue on the smartphone. I said, why not? It's no different than your finger.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I said, try it sometime. You never know.
How grateful we are, though, to live in these times where technology is advanced, that you're able to do stuff like that. Because back in the day, in your early days, you could never even think of that. But now we live in times where it's actually possible, and it benefits so much too. Because, like you said, you have those days where it's rough, but you still keep working, you still keep grinding, you keep finding ways to keep going.
Yes. Because if you don't, what happens? Life passes you by.
Yep.
People will soon forget. It's like you just, as I tell when I do a podcast or speak with people, live each day to the fullest, because we're not promised tomorrow, and live it with no regrets, because you can't undo it. And you want to put the best you out there that you can, and that's what I try and do every day.
You have to. I mean, in a world that's could be so negative at times, could be so ugly at times, and scary at times.
Yes.
It's best to show the real you, that positive you, because, like you said, you never know. You never know when it could be your last day here on Earth, and there could be somebody out there that's going through it at the moment that feel like life's about to defeat them, about to leave them permanently on their knees, but they see that positive, that smile, you being you, and it keeps that fight alive in them. It gives them another reason for being here. Like, if she can do it, I can do it, right?
And that's what I say. If I can do what I'm doing from a chair, what's stopping you?
That should be on a shirt.
I like the one, keep staring, I might be tricked.
Now, I really want to know though, since you started being on podcasts and sharing your stories, how many people have reached out to you that are trying to help you with your condition so far?
Sadly, no one.
You haven't got to that point? Okay. I must be foreseeing in the future that's going to happen. You got people reaching out to you left and right that are going to try to help you with your condition to get you back. How would you feel if you got to that point in the future that you no longer had to be in the chair, that you were able to be normal, like, just function properly normally?
Mhm.
If somebody was able to do that for you, a miracle were to happen like that God blessed you.
Actually, I take back what I said. It has happened that someone at the hospital, numerous times I ran into this gentleman because he's like a transporter and ex-military, so on and so forth. And he's, told me about what he's seen. And he says when they become available, which I'm not privy to say what it is, but when they become available, I'm one of the top 5 people he's going to go and seek out because he has seen what this can do and how it can totally reverse someone's situation.
That sounds very interesting.
It does, does it sound a little sci-fi, whatever? Maybe, but it's something that I'm learning more about. And when it becomes public, I won't be the only one that gets to benefit from it. And, the military has their little hush-hush, secrets. And if you say this, then, it'll be denied or whatever. So it'll come out when it's supposed to, I guess. And every time I see this gentleman, he just winks at me and says, "I got you, girl." I was like, "You know how to find me?" He goes, "I know how to find you." I was like, "Okay."
I don't know how to take that. I mean, could I be looking over my shoulder for you, or what?
I know it's in a good way, but as far as anybody else via the podcast, no, not yet. I would really love to do a TEDx.
Man, that would be amazing.
Because people get so caught up in their own situation, and granted, yes, because it sucks, but there is so much more to look at. Things can always be worse. And if you're focusing on the negative, what's going to happen? Absolutely nothing. But if you put that positive out there and that's what you strive for, those are your goals, the sky's the limit. And if you have your faith and relationship with God, wow, mountains will move.
My favorite book, man, The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. So everything you're saying, man, is speaking. I mean, everything. That's what I read in that book, pretty much. Because at one time, I'll admit it, I was a negative thinker, but that was because of people I was around. I was around the wrong people, and my mindset wasn't. When stuff went wrong, I just figured that's it wasn't for me. I was something that wasn't supposed to happen. But once I started reading that book, I realized that it was me the whole time. I had to change how I saw things, how I looked at things, how I was thinking myself. And like you said, you've been saying this whole time, it's important to have the right mindset because you could limit yourself from a lot of it. And the people that are watching this right now are probably feeling the same way. They're like, dude, I don't know how you could be so positive all the time. I'm dealing with this, I'm dealing with that. Yeah, like, yeah, we all have problems. Everybody goes through them. It's how you handle them, how you address them. When stuff doesn't go your way, look at it like this from a positive point of view. See it as like, okay, that didn't work out, but God has this in store for me over here. He's doing something. He's doing something else behind the scenes, right?
Yes, exactly. You know, we don't always understand his ways, but I would rather he be in control of my life than me.
Yeah. Because, I mean, had you not had God in your life, where do you think you would be right now?
Oh boy.
For me, to answer that question, I'd say definitely not on his podcast. And that, because that plays a big part of my testimony, and people ask me about that all the time. Chris, where would you be if God was in your life? I really don't know. I'd probably be in the grave. I'd probably be gone. I'd probably be off the earth, man. Because God, every time I look at my life and I step out, I look at like situations I would have been in or been in, you know, I realize that every time I thought God wasn't there, He was there. He was directing my steps. He was leading me every step of the way. Like this podcast right now, having this conversation with you, this was from God. He connected us. This is what you call a divine appointment.
Exactly. Yep. And I'm a firm believer in divine timing.
You know, this was meant to happen. And somebody's watching this right now, listening to this. You were meant to hear this. You're meant to see this. Because honestly, you're going through the same boat. You know, you've been in an accident and you feel like you feel like giving up. You feel like the doctors are telling you this and telling you that, you know, pretty much you're going to be a punk in the rest of your life. You're not going to be able to do anything. You're going to be laid up. But here she is sharing her story to tell you that don't believe that. That God is writing your story. You still have many things to do. Still have many things to do. Don't give up. And I'll pass the mic over to you right now because this is more your story. Somebody is actually going through the same thing as you. They just had an accident. And the doctor has just pretty much said the same thing that they told you. What can you tell that person right now?
That doctors know what's in the textbooks. Not to say that when you walk out of those four walls, you're going to be up and walking the next day. Don't always cling onto the doom and gloom of what they say. Research is tremendous. Faith is 100% a must. And just know that you are worthy of a good life. And sometimes, like when I was in the hospital from the 5th to the 8th with pneumonia, they were so negative this time. And I'm looking at them like, and I didn't receive it. And they're just looking at me like I'm not changing my attitude. But you know, what you take in is powerful because your brain holds on to that. So does your spirit. Don't allow the negativity to overtake you. You can always strive for better. A lot of it is faith and research, asking questions, making phone calls, getting the information, the knowledge that you need.
Now, for the person that doesn't really have, you know, they don't believe in God, they don't have that faith. What would your advice be to that person?
Don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself time. Take it day by day. And depending on their situation. Don't expect something overnight. Things have a process in the healing, what the ways of our body, and some people will heal faster than others. But keep your mind strong and just focus on the positive and know that you are not your situation. You are your mindset, your integrity, and what you put out there. Your situation does not define who you are.
Amen to that. All right, now the podcast is going to take a complete 180. People want to know, get interested in this kind of stuff. So you said you were with Richard for 3 years, 4 years, and then once that ended, what was your dating life like? Being in the wheelchair. I mean, being as you were going through all this stuff, was it easy for you to go back out into the scene? What was going on?
Well, back then, there weren't really dating sites like there are now. I stayed single for 2 years. And it was my friend who would come over and do my nails who said, I know someone. Okay. And this person was the cousin to her husband. So when Ron and I met, he's 11 years young or older than me, and he had a 9-year-old son. So I was like, I always wanted more children. I had 2, but they were very stressful pregnancies. But I think I settled for Ron, and subsequently 3 years later, we got divorced. But I had met my nurse in the hospital, and we ended up married for 15 years and had 2 kids. So between the second marriage and my third, sad to say, I didn't date. My kids were my focus, and I wanted them to know that they were the priority. So Daniel was 18, and he had moved out. My daughter turned 18 because they're 2.5 years apart. And then I started going on the dating sites. And, you just have to be very, very careful because there are scammers on every site. And it doesn't matter if they're Christian or what. They're out there. And so did I experience my fair share of them? Unfortunately, I did. But, I tried the sites for probably a few months. And then I stopped. And then I thought a few months later, I'll give it a shot. Well, then I met my third soon-to-be ex. But you have to, as much as you think you know someone, they have something in their mindset from day one. And the reason why I say that is because it starts out one way, but if there's ulterior motives, false pretenses, that's where you get blindsided. And that's kind of what happened. And, they all knew about my situation. And I always tell people I'm an open book. Ask me any questions because I know they're going to. So you have to be willing to put yourself out there when you have different situations like mine, and know that it's better to do that from the beginning than to say, oh, and let me tell you. Because when they meet you, you can't hide it. It's there, so I just put it out there from the get-go, and you get all sorts of crazy questions, and I'm sure you can probably figure out what those are. And, you just kind of got to go with it, and just, exactly what they're out for, and that's not who you want to be with. But, I don't know, I guess, do I recommend dating sites? There's not a problem with it. You just have to be smart. For me, it's hard to meet people because I don't have my own wheelchair accessible vehicle. If I did, that would be a lot different. I haven't had one for the last 9 years. And do a lot of talking on the phone, meet somewhere, Starbucks, a restaurant, get to know them before you start really letting them in. Because if you're someone that falls easily, you're probably going to get hurt more often than not. Sometimes you get lucky, and God bless you if you do. But sometimes you just kind of have to weed through it and understand, is this God's choice or yours? And that was my mistake 2 times. So,
I mean, how often do we find ourselves in that boat? I was thinking, as you were saying that, I mean, especially when you get into the dating world, and the first thing you kind of go by the fairy tale movies that kind of tell you how this is going to ride out, and how it's going to play out. You're going to ride off into the sunset, but they don't tell you what happens after that first sunset. Once you get out there and you've been with that person for a couple months, this is the beautiful part, is like once that's, sunset's over and you're living the next days and months and all that stuff, you get to really learn who you're with.
Yeah.
And to me, like, my advice to people that are getting into the dating world is, like, if you're just going after looks and after appearances, you're not ready yet. You're not ready yet.
And looks change. They fade.
Yep.
They fade over the years. So that's why I when they say or ask me, what are you looking for? It's the heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's, the integrity that exudes through their pores. That whole actions speak louder than words. There has to be that patience, trust, loyalty, and unconditional love.
Yes.
Someone who can conversate. If you can't conversate, then it's not going to work.
No.
You can't sit there and entertain this conversation instead of going, yeah, okay. It's just not going to happen. But
no, it's important to have a person that you can connect with, that has a good personality, has a good mindset, because there's going to be days where you're going to need them. You're going to need their help. There's going to be days where it's not sunshine and rainbows. There's going to be some days where you get beat up on yourself, and it's nice to have that other half, that other person that can help you, that can restore you, bring you back to your normal self. Or when you're not being yourself, they can correct you and say, hey, you're not being who you're supposed to be. You're acting like a complete different person. And that's nice to have that other half, that other person. My wife has to tell me that from time to time. She's like, you better correct yourself before I do. I'm like, okay, all right, take it easy, lady. Don't beat me up. But like I said, if you're going in just for the looks and just the appearance, it's gonna be tough for you in the long run, because that's not good. That's not gonna last. It's not.
No, no, looks change. You need to know the heart of the person and what makes them tick.
Yeah. And if you're saying I'm trying to tell you guys not to go after people just for the looks, you could do that, but like she said, go after the person that has the heart, that has the right idea for you and them. I mean, you guys got to be in it together, 100%.
Being sorry,
Go ahead.
being equally yoked is so important because if you're not, it just doesn't work. If you're trying to match your faith or your I think a lot of it is just the faith. Sometimes it just doesn't work. But if you're both of the same faith, then you grow together that way.
Yep, like you said, though, having God in your relationship plays a big factor. It helps you in the long run. That's what makes the relationships last longer. But like you said, when you're not, yoked the same, and you're the one or the other, your person's carrying you. It's gonna be a rough road, man. It's gonna be tough. Would I become the dating counselor on the show or something? But and that for the person that's watching or listening right now, and you're feeling like you're going through the trial and the error of the dating world, don't worry. I mean, this is the fun part, the learning part, is you're finding your match. You're gonna find that person. I promise you that. God's gonna really trust God with everything, especially when it comes to your dating life, because He's gonna find you that partner that you need. It's gonna, that you're gonna need in your life, and they're gonna play a big factor in your life. And you're gonna think, but you're thinking right now that you can do it on your own, but then you're gonna realize when this person comes in your life that you needed them all along, like to help you. And then when you and that person, whoever it is, start connected and having God with you, the doors are gonna fly open.
Exactly.
Let's wait and see.
It's a powerful team when you're equally yoked. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But, so many people settle or they jump without really taking the time. And that's where divorces come from. And unfortunately, I settled because I thought, well, after X amount of time, is this all I'm going to get? And that's probably why I did my first and my third marriage. But, people have freedom of choice. They can change their mind. And if they do, they do. And you have no control over that.
Oh, no. And I mean, that's the biggest thing, too, is I always see, let's get real, people. Stop trying to fix whoever you're going to be with. If you're not happy with who they are, then their personality-wise, don't get with that person. You don't have to be the hero. You don't have to go in and try to make that person as somebody else. If you're not happy with who they are, then you're not. Just don't get with them. I feel like too many people are trying that nowadays because they see all these movies and dating shows that give you a false reality to make you believe that you have to have the right, they got to be just perfect for you like this. You can make them into that person. Like, no, you get with that person that, that you feel that connection with, that, you enjoy being in their presence. That you think about when you're not with them, that you never get tired of that. You want to see them every day. But like I said, it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows, but some days you're going to not see eye to eye. But that's the beautiful part of it. Because if you had somebody, it's not perfect all the time. But that's how you guys grow together. Put it like that.
You work side by side, not one person in front or one person behind. It has to be side by side, heart to heart, hand in hand. And you don't turn on the other person in times of trial. they're there. They're your helpmate. They're your partner. They feed into you just as much as you feed into them. They're not the ones to turn on. And sometimes that's the first thing people do. Point the finger, and it may not even be the other person's fault. So we just have to watch ourselves in the midst of disagreements, because they can overtake us, and the enemy loves to wreak havoc in strong relationships.
Yep. Don't allow that door to be open at all, to give him room to work. Always forgive each other, because there's going to be times where you guys, you're going to butt heads and, like you said, not see eye to eye and things, but remember why you guys are together. Forgive each other. If you guys have to, especially when you guys are arguing or whatever, go in the other room. Take a breather. Breathe. And then come back and talk to each other.
Yeah, when you take a break, it doesn't mean you're leaving each other. You're just taking a break.
Yeah. So our book will be out in September. This is Chris and Victoria's book on dating advice. We will we'll be publishing it soon. It'll be released next month. Thank you guys for enjoying that.
Exactly.
We'll get back to Victoria's story. So you got to learn about her dating world, because I know you guys were interested. How it goes sometimes. If not, I hope you enjoyed that. But if you're just now tuning in, we're an hour in, and Victoria was pretty much told from when she was in her accident that she was gonna be just a pumpkin for the rest of her life. She was just gonna sit there and stare at the ceiling. But like I said earlier, God had other plans for her. That her story was just beginning, and she is a very positive influence on the world. I mean, really, that we really need to see more than anything nowadays is so many people are willing to give up, especially when times getting tough, the cost of living going up. But through it all, she stayed positive, and she could have gave up, but her mindset said no. And because of that very reason, because God was still working in her, and she knew that she had that faith, it allowed her to become where she's at right now. Look at her. Does that look like a pumpkin to you? No. She's moving around. She's dancing. She's going to be dancing here in a little bit. You'll see.
Amen.
She's moving, man. She has children. She has kids.
Yeah.
She said it was painful, but she did it. She's got it.
I sometimes live vicariously through CapCut and AI in the dancing videos, and
I've seen your videos. Don't worry, I've seen them.
like I'm speaking it into existence.
Yes.
So if someone thinks they're silly, well, then that's on them. But
no. To me, I look at it like that's just you showing your personality, your beautiful personality.
Thank you.
People seeing those videos. I mean, for me, that's what I saw when I seen your little AI videos of you dancing around, especially with Michael Jackson. I was like, man, I need to get an autograph or something. That's amazing. She was dancing. What, Michael Jackson himself doing the same moves and everything. She was, oh my goodness, doing that moonwalk like nobody's business. I was like, how? She even had the glove, guys. She even had the glove.
Right. I believe that was all CapCut. So with that app, you just put your picture, you upload it, and then it does what it did.
Oh, look at you. You being humble, trying to say that it was some app. We all know you were dancing with Michael Jackson.
A good friend of mine that I've known for 2.5 years, we met on TikTok. He did a compilation of him dancing and me dancing to the Michael Jackson song And so I posted that on TikTok and Facebook too. So it was fun. You know, it's just they're meant to have fun.
The crazy part is, before I actually seen that on your page, I believe I saw that out there. Like it was, did it get a lot of views on TikTok? Because I remember seeing it somewhere else before. I remember seeing that exact video of you and Michael Jackson dancing somewhere. And then how long ago was that? Did you posted that? Like 2, 3 years ago, or just recently?
Just a month or two ago.
Okay. Because I just remember seeing it out there. I was like, wow, look at this person getting down with the Michael Jackson.
Yeah, and then there's one to Britney Spears. Oops, I did it again. And there's another one of me dancing on the beach, and I think that was my favorite. But you know, it's what makes me happy. It's how I have fun. And if somebody else doesn't understand it, they can always talk to me about it, but ultimately it's not their life.
No, you're like it's beautiful because you're foreseeing, like you said, you're putting it out there into you're seeing it, because like the Bible says, what your eyes take in are the window to the soul. So you're seeing that, and you're building it because your mind doesn't know. So by seeing this, and you're foreseeing yourself you're dancing like Michael Jackson, you're dancing on the beach, you're out there, you're pretty much telling your body, like, it's possible that I'm gonna get up out of this chair and I'm gonna start dancing, man. You're gonna feel that sensation in your legs and start tingling, and all of a sudden that glove's gonna get popped on and you're gonna start dancing.
That would be.
You got the glove, and are you ready for it? You gotta slap that glove on when it comes that time. Better get your little white glove. Yeah, start dancing. Do you because I got a buddy named Kevin that he plays like basketball and stuff in his wheelchair and stuff. Do you take part of that at all? Do you get into like events?
No, I don't, only because I'm not able to use my fingers.
Oh, okay.
Makes it a little
not yet. But
But
you're
yeah.
going to. You're going to.
Yeah.
The fingers are gonna be working. You're gonna be moving. And you're gonna be like, watch out.
I'm into that.
AI is a beautiful thing, though, because it allows you to do stuff like that. But sometimes you got to be for the people, be careful, because AI can be used for good, it can be used for bad, just like any other thing in this world.
Right. Unfortunately.
And the stuff that I've seen out there, I mean, especially as people for the older generation, they see some of them videos and think it's very real. But just be careful. It's not bad. But be careful. Take a class on it if you have to understand what is AI and what's real life. Because it's starting to get to that point where but for her situation, she's using AI for the good, for herself, to show people, like, hey, I foresee myself being this, and it's opening the door. I really believe, like, in the next year or two, that you're going to be out there doing your thing. I don't know about dancing with Michael Jackson, but you're going to be dancing with somebody.
Amen to that.
As we begin to wrap this thing up, I just simply want to say thank you for coming on and sharing your story, man.
Thank you for having me.
It's a very positive, uplifting story, and I believe without a doubt it's touched millions of people that are watching right now. People that really need to hear, really, that are feeling defeated or that are ready to give up. I believe that you gave them faith, that they need to raise their head up and keep being positive, keep thinking. Instead of being negative, you gave them a positive outlook on things. Like, if she can do it, I can do it too.
Amen.
Is there anything that I missed that you would like to to bring up before we wrap up?
No, I don't think so.
I think actually, because you said you did publish some books. How can you tell us a little bit about them? And where can we find them at so we could buy them books?
The two that I was a co-author in with like 10 other authors. One is called Still We Rise. The other one is called Scars to Stars. And they're on Amazon. And my memoir is called Whiplashed, but Not Broken. And I'm just in the process of getting it published, but it's not done yet. So
no, I can't wait to see that one. That's the one I want to read. But especially the other ones. But that one, I don't know. The title on it it gets my attention. I'm like, I'd like to see that and read it.
I will let you know.
For people that are interested in books and they want to, get in there, I'll leave it all down in the description so you can click on the link and you can purchase those books. And as I said, as we're at the end, I'd like to pass the microphone over to you and I allow you to ask me 3 questions. Let's see what you got. I'm a complete open book, so whatever you got, I'm ready.
Well, I wasn't prepared for that.
Ooh, but got her off guard, guys.
What do you foresee in your future for your podcast? 2.
Hold on, let me answer the first one so I can keep it all in order. The first one, the answer to that question is I allow this podcast to be in God's hands. So whatever he wants to do with it, it's up to him. Just go by day, each podcast, one podcast at a time. Get to enjoy every conversation. Whatever God wants to do with this podcast, I'll leave it to him. But I do enjoy doing it. Thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you for this platform, for allowing me to have a platform for people to come on and share their stories. Because it's truly, just hearing your story today, I'm just ready to go run a marathon now.
Well, that's nice to hear.
All right, what's your second question?
How long have you been doing your podcast?
I have been doing this podcast for almost, I want to say 5 years. 5 years. I started, when I started the podcast, I've been doing it for some time, but not actually, if we're going to say, the actual podcast, I've been doing it for 5 years. But, talking to people randomly and getting to know their stories, I've been doing that since I graduated high school, since I started traveling, getting out into the world. The God just gave me a gift where I just could talk to anybody, had that personality, and I thank him for it. Because a lot of people probably are thinking I've known you for a long time. But no, we got you guys. If you guys are watching this, we just met today, just met tonight, wherever you guys are at in the world. Although I do feel like I've known her for a little bit longer. But that's what I said, divine appointments. They make you feel that way, where you feel like you've known a person longer than... honestly, I feel like I've known her for at least 20 years. That's the crazy part. And I've been doing the podcast for about 5 years, and each story that comes on, each person that comes on, it blows me away. I love hearing everybody's stories, and especially, like I said, hearing yours today, it's just, your mindset is so beautiful. Because, like you said, you could have been a very negative person. You could have agreed with what the doctor said. You could have, gone in a completely different direction. Could have gave up on life completely. Could have just threw the towel in, but you didn't. And It really shows. I mean, this is like from what I'm seeing right now, it's just the beginning. You got a lot of incredible things coming your way, especially with God in your life. God's gonna open many doors for you. And I believe, without doubt, like you said earlier, you're gonna be doing a TED Talk soon. So I hope you're ready for that.
Oh, I am ready.
You're gonna get up on that stage in front of, I don't know how many people are at the TED Talk. Maybe I'll be in the audience. Maybe I'll be there with you doing the same thing, talking. But I believe, without a doubt, it's gonna be one of those TED Talks that people are just gonna be amazed. You're gonna blow people off their feet, and people are. I mean, it's gonna be a standing ovation. I can see it already. So when that time comes, I'm rooting for you.
No, thank you. That's always nice.
All right. For your final question, let's see what you got. Drum roll, please.
What is the one thing you hope to achieve with your podcast?
My ultimate goal with this podcast is to keep it going. To have it open, that just give people a platform. I mean, I know there's so many podcasts out there in the world, but I love my podcast because it's really giving people the opportunity to come out and share their stories. And not just share stories, but share stories that people need to hear. To let people know that, you're not alone. You're not in this battle by yourself. That somebody else has gone through the same thing that you're currently dealing with. And maybe that's you right now that's watching this, listening right now, that you just got the news that, you're going to be a tomato. And they're telling you that, this is the rest of your life. But by seeing this story tonight, wherever you're at, that it's inspired you. That she's encouraged you everything that she has said. Just having the right mindset, being positive. Regardless of what they throw at you this life, I mean, you have to make a choice. You can allow it to beat you to your knees, or you can get up and keep going. Because that's what you have to do all the time. Life's gonna throw you curveballs. I hate to say it like that, but it's the truth. But you're gonna constantly have to. It's either level down or level up. It's a way to put it. You can make that decision yourself. You can either be on your knees permanently or get up, wipe the dirt off you, and keep moving. Because that's really what I look at when I hear her story today. And really, I mean, how could you not be inspired? How could you not be moved by that? And it should open you up to saying, the mind is a powerful thing.
Yes.
The mind is a very powerful thing that you could have easily just gave it all up and said, no, it's not going to happen. But you didn't. And I sound like a broken record because I keep saying the same thing over and over. But I'm being honest with you guys. The mind is a powerful thing, and as long as you stay positive, regardless of what life throws at you, and you keep going, keep rolling, keep going with the punches. And God plays a big factor in it. Understand that no matter what you're going through, God is with you every step of the way. It might, like Jesus said at one time, you can either follow the wide path or the narrow path. The wide path is easy, but it leads to death. You can follow the narrow path. It's going to be hard to find, but it leads to eternal life. And you have to. It's not going to be an easy path to follow. You're going to run into a lot of curves. You're going to run into a lot of mountains that you have to climb. But in the end, it will be worth it.
Amen.
It will be worth it. But other than that, guys, before I start preaching for the next hour or so, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This is your podcast host, Chris Baker. And thank you for listening to the story of Victoria. Until next time, guys, peace out.
Yo, that's the final chapter. Read word to the streets, got mad truth to spread for every listener and watch a piece. We appreciate the belief. Another episode concludes, staying positive and uplifting the mood. We'll see you next time, kid, with a fresh narrative. That's how we live. So keep your face strong, hold your head high where you belong, and keep that hope alive. G, that's the only way you're gonna thrive, cause your life is a story and your testimony's important for the glory. Word up, your story matters. We ain't here for the senseless chatter. See you next time on Tell Me Your Story with Chris Baker Jr. Peace.